So Janette, I know you hang out on a couple of other groups on Facebook. Would you like to name some of your favorites?
I'm very active in a garden group.
Yes, tell us more about that one.
The garden, because the admin kept admonishing me for being too sharp with people who asked silly questions.
Yes.
And so eventually what she did is she nominated me as the group expert, and I have to behave myself when I give advice. But it actually gives a little tag, so because people would sometimes question if you say do it this way or plant something or don't do it now, do it in spring.
Yes.
Then they would question and come, now I've got the tag next to my name that says group expert.
Okay, amazing.
So, so that gives you a little bit of authority.
Yes.
But I also try very much to talk about only things that I grow in my garden, or I have grown. I was talking earlier about the lovely arum lilies, but I have them in my garden. I know when they flower, when they make leaves and so on.
Yes.
How to plant them, what to feed them. And then partly growing out of that, because I would see people, of course, Facebook gives you things that it thinks you are interested in.
Yes.
So it started sharing tree stories with me.
Yes.
And there were one or two people in the group, the garden group, that were also in the tree group. So I joined the tree group and I got to know Richard Gill.
Okay, so which tree group is that?
So the tree group is called Trees in Africa.
Okay.
It's not Trees of Africa or trees, there's always this discussion. Is it about only indigenous trees? No.
Okay.
It's about any tree, whether it's a jacaranda or...
as long as it's on African soil.
African soil, we can talk about.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
There is a lot of promotion of rather plant indigenous.
Yes.
That's better for the environment.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that we should ignore, there's an avocado tree that looks like a bottle brush, in the jacaranda trees above us. But I also, again, people ask me for advice. They say, you seem to know so much. And I say, yeah, because I know the trees that grow in gardens.
Yes.
Because that group is wonderful for identifying small and unknown and not very popular type of trees to get people to understand that we have this wonderful diversity of indigenous trees that also not necessarily do well in one part of the country, but would do well in another part of the country because of the climate. Richard himself is a guerrilla gardener, planting trees where nobody else would think to plant a tree and watching it grow.
Yes.
I haven't quite gotten that far of doing it myself, but I have given people trees to plant that grow, because I've always putting seeds in the ground, and so I've got 2 little oak trees at the moment that I'm waiting to see who might give them to plant them somewhere. Last year, somebody asked on the tree group that they were looking for a tree to plant on a grave. They just had a funeral and they were thinking of doing it. So she came and fetched one of my little oak trees.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Gave her several other plants with it. And then afterwards she commented later when I was, talking about trees again. And she said, all the other plants died, but that little tree is growing.
Okay.
It's perfect. It's doing wonderfully.
Oh, that's such wonderful news.
And I so enjoy sharing because, in a garden, things grow. Things overgrow. It gets too much.
Yes.
And then you have too much of something. And you've got to cut back or take out. And then I don't want to throw that away. It's just like throwing away something. For me, it's something of value.
Yes.
So in the garden group itself, that's something I've very often done is, like I did yesterday, a young woman who just moved into an empty plot with her husband, where there's only a house and not even lawn, not even grass. And so she asked on the garden group, I said, you're welcome to come. It wasn't too far from where I live. And she went away with the whole minibus full of plants.
Oh, amazing.
And you can't see any difference in my garden. So cutting bits off, pulling some things out to thin out, it makes the other plants happier.
Yes.
And the same on the tree group, we share seeds, we sometimes share cuttings or tell people, I saw this tree and it's got seeds on it. And then somebody can go and collect the seeds. So. And identifying trees, finding out whether sometimes trees that have bad roots that can damage paving or walls, discussing what trees are good to plant where. And just being aware of what trees are growing. Through the tree group, I've learned a huge amount about environments, about the problems of indigenous or non-indigenous, the issues of planting trees, of caring for trees, of what works in a garden, what won't work in a garden, getting to know people, because Richard himself I've met up with not long ago. One of the parts of not even sure the relationship to this area, that I visited him at home not long, a few months ago.
Amazing.
For him, because he'd promised me a little seedling plant a long time ago, and I said, I've got a day free, can I come and pick it up?
Yes.
And that is now already knee-high, you know?
Yes.
Sharing things like that he had enough of, because he had a shrub that was throwing seeds and making seedlings.
Yes. Janette, thank you so much for sharing your lived experience on Facebook with me. Thank you so much for making friends with me on Facebook. Thank you so much for your time today and your contribution to our documentary. I appreciate it so much.
It's been fun.